Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's me. It's Sarah G. Witch MD. That is the Master of Divination. I have Kathy Lynn from Manifest Health Solutions joining me here tonight. Hi, Kathy Lynn.
Hey, Sarah G. How are you?
Good. How are you? So, we know it's Lionsgate. Let's pull a card for Tarot Tuesday. I forgot to do it last week because we had a little technical difficulty, so I was a little scrambled. But since today is Lionsgate, and which is 8-8, right?
Mm-hmm.
That infinity symbol. Let's pull a card for Tarot Tuesday, and let's see. I'd be curious to see how it kind of falls. So I'm going to shuffle and I'm going to pull, and then we can talk about the card to start. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Here we go. I am using the vintage tarot vintage today. Oh, I've got that Knight of Pentacles. So tarot vintage is just a stylized version of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that we tend to teach on. It's the one that is most recognized in all of the tarot. So we've got that Knight of Pentacles. All right. So for me, I feel like taking a risk, doing things a little bit different when it comes to what you have around you is absolutely important here. And kind of understanding it to be a journey and a message is also kind of the name of today's game, if you will. So that's kind of where I go with this card. How about you? What do you feel about this?
Most definitely. And it ties in quite nicely with Lionsgate as moving forward and taking risks, right? And setting on a new course and bringing in abundance of all forms, not just monetarily for me, right? And holding steadfast, right, to your dreams and being willing to push yourself forward.
I love that. And if we notice that Knight of Pentacles has a dark horse, it's actually black in that card. But it's a dark horse, and there's a lot to be said about that because you bet on a dark horse, right? When we talk about something that it's going to come into our life, whether it's ominous or not, it's kind of like that. There's always that dark kind of entity that's following us in like the unknown, not like an evil spirit. That's not what I'm saying. It is kind of like we don't know what's out there until we turn on that light. So I really feel that today being Lionsgate, and there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to being strong and trusting what you cannot see to happen. Correct. Has a lot to do with that card as well.
Most definitely, right? And 8s are all about balance, right? Because it's 2 3s turned together, right? And the infinity symbol as well. So, and you cannot have the light without the dark, right? So riding your dark horse to the light, right, is also another good way to look at that card as well.
Right. One of the things I like to tell my clients, and I think I talked about this last week, without the darkness, we cannot see the stars. So we have to be able to kind of go in this direction of, even though it's something that we're not necessarily sure of or that we have all of the answers for, we have to trust and believe that there is light at the end of that proverbial tunnel, or that there's something going on that will bring us to where we need to have a message or see something that is intended for our own journey. I love that. So that card totally made sense to what we have going on today. So we're in the middle of Leo season, which has a lot to do with the fact of that Lionsgate energy, right? And it's
Mhm.
just the date that we really look at in the sense of 8 8. That's why we talk about this idea. And I'm sure those of you who are in the metaphysical kind of progression have seen lots of memes and lots of things being shared about Lionsgate. It's not a coincidence that we're having a conversation today about it because obviously it's Tarot Tuesday and the witch doctor is in. So, I think it's really important to look at this and say there's so much that we don't know that we're trusting that the answers are going to be revealed to us in a certain fashion.
Correct. Right. And I think the most important element of trust in that equation is trust in oneself. Right. So, and then trusting that you have done all of the work necessary based on all of the information that you've received from universe, right, and others around you to make the right decisions in the right time.
Right. I love that. I love that. It's not always so laid out in front of us like a perfect plan. And I think a
Correct.
lot of people, because we are humans, that's what we want. We want to be able to see cause and effect. We want to be able to see what's happening, for the goal or for the effort that we're going to put into something. And sometimes when we don't see that and we have to look within to trust ourselves, it kind of gets a little bit hairy. And the situation is that we might not understand it, but we have to keep going and we have to put one foot in front of the other in order to get to the other side of whatever this is.
Correct. I think an important reminder too is that growth is not linear, right? It is twists and turns and ups and downs and hills and valleys, right? So, and that is life itself that we are trying to navigate through each and every day, right? My favorite saying, or anytime that anybody has a conversation with me, is each and every single second of every single day is an energy exchange, right? Whether you are having an energy exchange with another person or with inanimate objects, there is a reciprocity that is consistently occurring throughout your day. So you need to be mindful of your energy as well as the energy that's around you.
Right. I love that word in the sense of I can't say it, but I love it. But the idea of reciprocating that energy is also very inherent or very it reminds me of that infinity symbol. As
Correct.
above as so below, without in one hand and out the other. It's kind of like we have to give and take and we understand that, but that infinity symbol, the energy is always flowing and always moving even if it's down or up or sideways or upways or however you want to look at it. And so
Mm-hmm.
we always have to kind of keep going, even if it is that we're resting, and I
Correct.
think yeah, I think that falls under the idea of the energy with inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta just sit on the chair and disappear into the couch and watch crappy TV or, do whatever it is that kind of settles you a little bit. That's still energy. That's still kind of making sure that you're filling your cup back up.
Correct. Yeah. Anything that brings you joy and is a quick hit, right, for a refill, that people have to also learn that rest is productive. It's not unproductive. You do not always need to be go, 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 go. Right. And even though we are in the season of fire in Leo, right, it's one of my favorite seasons because with fire, you burn everything to the ground in order to rise again, right? But there is a rest period that is needed before that growth can be propagated.
I love that. I love that. I am Leo rising, so I love this time. This time is
Yeah.
wonderful. I love this time. And I also love today only because I can tell you that I went crazy cleaning the house today. My energy was high, high, high. And I know on the other side of this, I'm going to crash, crash, crash. And I'm going to make sure that I, then fill myself back up in the way that makes sense to me. So tomorrow, I might not do all of the craziness that I did today, but that's totally fine.
Correct. Exactly. That ebb and flow, right? Hills and valleys, right? It's just pay attention to what your mind, body, and spirit are telling you, and be good to yourself, right? The highest form of self care is showing yourself some self love.
I love that. So, Kathy Lynn, tell me a little bit about you and about what Manifest Health Solution looks like. I know we're talking about this wonderful time frame that we're in right now, but tell us something about you and something that we can kind of go forward from.
Sure. So, I have always been enamored with metaphysical since very little, right? I have been blessed with some abilities of heightened intuition, and I finally brought it into form when I created Manifest Health Solutions. So it's all about falling back in love with yourself, and taking care of you along the way, and ensuring that you are in balance, mind, body, and spirit. And we do that or I do that in a variety of different ways. I am a Reiki master, an integrated energy therapy master. I love working with angelic energy, and that's exactly what integrated energy does, is it brings in all of the healing energy of the angels. I also do oracle card readings and pulling in some tarot as well, thanks to you. um, and then there's a whole coaching side, right, where I can customize a coaching program for you to kind of help you set 3 priorities that you want to work on over time, and then help you get there.
Really, I like that because I think what the whole idea of that is that you're giving people the space to hold themselves accountable without a repercussion of, you know, this is what you need to do, otherwise you're going to fall apart. I think that having the idea that we can change our lives at a growth pattern that is very, you know, individual and very focused on what we need is kind of, I really love that you pull that into your work, because not a lot of people will be able to do that in the sense of, and yes, life coaching is very important, but you pull through so many different modalities in order to get there. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really what resonates with the client. So,
Right.
and we
Yeah.
pull the program together, right? We pull it together, right? But the
Right.
client is the primary driver. It's kind of like, okay, we do this little intake, and then we chat about what's really the root cause of where you want to focus. And then we set 3 priorities and we are off and running.
I love that. I think that's really great. I think that because people are really looking for something within their life to really make themselves what they want, right? And it's not going to come with a family or a job or, a certain situation that we would think of if we looked, in what society is telling us to do, or however you want to look at it, right? Is that we kind of have to look within, and we have to look at these things and say, I can do this. I can hit this goal. I can manifest, taking a word right out of the title of your business, what means something to me. And a lot of people, I think, don't necessarily understand what manifest really looks like. If we will it to be, if we want it to happen, where there's a will, there's a way. We're going to make it happen. And sometimes you need that little bit of a coach, or you need that little bit of an extra push in order to get you to the point where you believe that to be so.
Correct. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I also work hard to create a very safe, supportive, non-judgmental space for folks to kind of come in and toss their ideas around, and then do the work, right? So it's not all fun and games, right? There is some hard work that goes along with this in order to create the transformation that the clients are looking for.
I think that that's incredible, because again, the whole idea is that we are manifesting, or we're moving our lives to where we need to be. And we need to look at the whole picture and say, a little of this, a little of that, a little of this, a little of that is going to make it happen. It's not all just one thing. For instance, if somebody wants to, choose better in their health environment, in the sense of maybe they'll eat better, maybe they'll exercise, maybe they'll count their steps, maybe they'll make active choices to do things a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, that's not enough. We have to change our mindset a little bit in order to understand that it's a whole process and everybody's different. Just because we weigh the same or we both wear glasses doesn't mean that we're going to do the same things to get to where the next step is for ourselves. I love that. I think that today's card really has a lot to do with that too. I'm not surprised that we pulled this card for today because taking a risk, especially on yourself, is one that is inherently only going to better you if you decide that that is where you want to start.
Correct. No, most definitely, right? Like, and once you make that decision to invest in yourself, there's no stopping you, right? So,
Yeah.
and it's all about the manifestation and the self-creation, right? And my goal is not to keep you dependent on me, right? I am simply there to support and coach you, right? And provide you with the tools to become self-sufficient throughout the program. So
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think that it's such a different way of looking at things. That being said, because you hold people accountable, or give them the space to do that within their own lives. I love the fact that you also utilize spirit or the universe or whatever you want to say in that realm to kind of soften the lines a little bit, if that makes sense. A reading here and there, or a card of choice, or whatever it is that you would do for your clients can really just be like another facet to what they're doing, and like affirmation that everything is going to work out in the way that it should.
most definitely. A lot of my clients will choose to incorporate a reading session as well as an energy session into their program. Both offer intuitive responses. Once somebody provides me with permission to be all up and in their energy, right, there's really no holds barred from an energetic perspective. So there's a lot of information that will come in, just like it does when we're reading.
Right. I love that. And I know from experience of getting readings from you, your approach is so gentle yet affirming. It's so, you don't feel like you're being screamed at. You don't feel like, that you're, being chastised or doing it. You come from such a place of love and understanding and empathy in a certain way for the people that you are connecting with energetically. Not only that, I really love that you always ask permission, because not a lot of readers will do that. They not necessarily say those words, but they assume that the reason why they're sitting in front of you is for a reading. But your approach is totally different.
Correct. I will always ask permission because it's your energy, right? And I explain to them, right, anybody who sits across from me, that everybody works differently. You work differently than I do, right? And I will always ask permission to work with your energy. And once granted, I begin to work with your energy as well as the energy that surrounds you to give you messages that are needed most in the moment, which may not align with what you're seeking, but they will be what you need. So, and
that is amazing. Because I always say totally the same, concept of you're going to get what you need, not what you want. Correct. There's a big difference. And I think that by you asking permission, and saying those words of, this is for your highest and best at this moment in time. And this is what we're talking about. This is what you need to know.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily what you want to know. And I think, again, the approach that you have of being so gentle, I mean, I am not as gentle, but, I think that it's so reassuring, really, in a way, the way that you conduct yourself when you're reading. And, I would highly recommend that everybody follow Kathy Lynn at Manifest Health Solutions. Yeah. So what else do you do? I know that you run the gamut of all different things. Do you teach classes? Do you have office hours?
I do. So I have a series of different classes, and the one that is usually most popular this time of year, we're getting ready to kick it off, is setting boundaries, which is so important, right? So boundaries are the way in which you teach other people how to treat you, right? So it's a three-part series where in September we do part one. We bring you in and we teach you what a boundary is, what it looks like, what it sounds like, and then I also show you how to anticipate the reactions that you will receive. Right it's no joke work.
Wow, because you never know. Setting boundaries has sometimes a negative connotation in the world, because if this is, what we're saying, please don't do this, or please stop here, or however, a lot of people are like, oh, well, why would you do that? Why would you say that? What did I do wrong? And it's not necessarily a personal thing. It's
No.
just, it's not, meant to hurt the other person. It is meant to say, I protect my energy, I protect my being, and this is where my standard is. Has everything to do with self, not projecting it onto somebody else. And I think that setting boundaries is so important, especially, and I think that you're right in saying the time frame for now is really, it's really upon us, because we have holidays coming up. We
Exactly.
have we have back to school for those of us that have children who are going to be, molding our energies into other things and other situations that we've been, lackadaisical over the summer, doing our own thing. And so
Yeah.
now we have to kind of button up and be where we need to be and say, I don't really like that. Or maybe I should tell that person not to say that again. Or, that I'm just going to stop that. So
Exactly.
setting boundaries is a great class.
Yeah.
And I know that you also teach mala as well.
I do. Mala is a fun class to teach. You actually come in and you create your very own mala. Malas are used as a meditation tool to kind of help keep you grounded, or as an anchor point. They are similar to a rosary, but different in that each mala is created with 108 beads. And there's specific meaning to each part of the mala. So you have a chance to come in and create your very own with me over the course of 20 hours.
Right, which I've done, and I would highly recommend it. So interesting and yet so cathartic too at the same time. But I think that goes along with what what our idea is of setting those boundaries, protecting our energy, and taking a chance on ourselves. If we have a physical item that we're utilizing for this, then this makes a lot of sense for what the purpose is, of this is what means something to me, and counting these beads and this particular stone or what have you, it all ties in. It all ties in.
We try. It's all integrated, right? Everything is connected, and everything in life is just integrated, right? When you stop and think about it from a big picture.
Right.
Which I find so fascinating.
I do too. Speaking of integrated, is there anything, because you're so well steeped and immersed in a lot of different modalities and a lot of different things that you do, is there anything that you are called to do lately more so than another? Or is there anything that you're really just kind of jiving with, if you know what I mean, at this moment in time?
So I love the integrated energy, and that just happens. It's just part of everything that I do, including the card readings, because it's my team, right? The angel team that comes with me. And then it's also a very, what is the word that I'm looking for? Flexible energy modality, but it's to help you release the issues with your tissues, because the body hangs on to everything.
I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Release the issues with your tissues.
Yeah, most definitely. Right? It helps you rewrite the stories that you tell yourself, right? That you have created over time. And create new ones, rewrite them.
Right. And you feel that you are drawn to that more so lately than any of the
Most,
other?
most
Mm.
definitely, it's a higher vibration. I
Mhm.
find,
Mhm.
right? It's encouraged me to raise my own vibration through meditation and working with the energy itself, and just infusing, right? It's a lifestyle, I would say, right? I think you would say the same thing, right? That when
Mhm.
you work with various forms of energy, you begin to look at life just slightly different, and you see the possibility first, right? With the understanding that it does get weighed out, right? But there's an opportunity for us to encourage other people to embrace that balance, right? And to recognize that when bad things happen, it's not intentional
Mhm.
against them,
Right.
right? It's circumstance, and that there are some lessons that are in there, and that in embracing and acknowledging the lessons, that you can pull yourself forward and pay it forward, so that you are setting yourself up for more experiences that may be more positive in nature.
Right. So again, with the reciprocating energy in nature, right? Of we're just kind of setting the tone a little bit about how we can utilize what our own self does and how to benefit from that. And then show other people how to, and again, just like your boundaries class, how you would like to be treated and how you want that energy exchange to look. Because everybody's different and everybody does different things during the day that would then warrant something else kind of coming towards them. And so I think that putting it all together and looking at this and saying, this is what you can do to better yourself and
Mm-hmm.
showing them, some of the tools based on all of the things that you utilize can really just benefit. I love that.
Right. Yeah. Right. Intentions, goals, manifestation, boundaries, malas, right? Self care. It's it's a total picture
Right. And
of
all of those, I want to say buzzwords because they kind of are, they can be interchangeable. And everybody does things differently. Other practitioners do things differently. They have, different methods and different ideals. But at the end of the day, it's how we treat ourselves and how we benefit from what has been given to us to move forward. So, again, other readers, right, and other practitioners that we know of that may do things differently doesn't mean that it's inherently wrong or different or bad or whatever. It's a different lesson. Am I
Mhm.
right?
It is most definitely right. It takes all kinds in order for the world to run, right? So, and the same is true in that energetic and metaphysical space.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah.
everybody will be drawn to somebody different. So,
Hmm. Yep. And I think that it's how we proceed with that as a practitioner that we don't take offense. I mean, I know that you don't, I don't as well. If somebody is not vibing with us or, we're not giving them what they're looking for, what they're asking for, I will absolutely say, here's a list of people that I trust, or, go figure out what you need to do and then come back or don't. It's totally up to that person to take what they need out of the situation and make it their own. And I think that you are on the same mindset that I am with that.
1000%, right? And I am sure that you say the same thing to those clients that I do, that I encourage you to be mindful, because there are some practitioners out there that are intentionally trying to pull the wool over folks' eyes, right? So to do your due diligence and vet them to the best of your ability.
Yeah. Yep. And that, I mean, hey, everything's a journey, everything's a lesson if we look at it. And
It
that's
is.
where we go from that moment in time. So, yeah, I think that because it's an energy exchange, no matter how you look at it, in all the modalities that you use. And I say this, I'm a one trick pony. I love my tarot. I love my tarot. That's my go to. That's where I feel the most comfortable. And that's why I can speak in that language. But, using all of the different elements that you use, no pun intended, especially, I feel that, you know, what you're bringing to the table is so much different than just blank life coach, blank, you know, there's so many other things that you would be able to progress and give insight on. So I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. And I would encourage you to look at your tarot readings the same because tarot is a little bit of everything, right?
It
Tarot,
is.
tarot has a lot. There is a lot packed into tarot.
Right. And we're always learning with tarot, which you've taken my class. You totally understand. You can't get all of everything that you need to know within a short amount of time. It's just not possible. I'm constantly learning different tips and tricks and things that make sense. And I think, especially with what we do, you know, not, based on cards only or, inherently just that modality, but we live our life experience and that's how we speak to people, right? So a card like today's card looks a little bit different to me than it does to you, but that doesn't mean that your life experience or my life experience based on what we're reading is wrong, or it's, not what that person needs to hear, or it's completely different or off the mark, because it's not. That's how we read, or that's how we distinguish what our energy is supposed to do. We take what we've done and we say, okay, well, I can speak to this because of X, Y, and Z, and this is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes. Right. 1,000%. Right. And one of the things about tarot, so I will admit on live podcast that tarot intimidated me, right? And it's taken me several tries and several attempts in learning before I began to feel comfortable with tarot. So in your class was a big component of that and helping me kind of unlock the mystery of tarot, right? And you are 1,000% correct, right? We bring a little bit of ourselves and our life experience, as well as all of the information that's coming to us from an energetic download standpoint as well, right? So it's just, for me, it was a shift in perspective because I only use the cards as the vehicle to deliver the messages that are needed, right, in that moment.
Right.
And I trust that their guides, as well as my guides, will throw the cards that are needed to deliver and facilitate the communication.
Right. I think that's amazing to say, and I think that you're right on the money. Sometimes what we do is what we're doing is just effectively telling people exactly what we see, and it can be what they need to hear, and it can be something that I will tend to say, you can put that in your back pocket. I tell people that all the time. If they can't resonate with what I'm talking about, or a specific person that is coming through from the other side, or I don't remember that, or there's a specific symbol or something of that nature that comes through, I will always say, put that in your back pocket, because 9 times out of 10, what will happen is that you will recognize that at some point in your life and say, oh my God, that's exactly what that was. And that's where we need to be. And, it will make sense. Also, what I say in some of the readings, and I'm sure that you do too, is that I don't remember all of the things or talk about I don't know. So if this is hitting the mark, then it hits the mark. And I know that you just told me about an instance because you just worked a psychic fair this weekend where you did 32 readings in the course of that weekend, which is, I would be mush. But one person, one individual did not resonate with what you were saying. And I think that it's good to talk about that because we're not perfect. But what we can do is we can say, this is what's coming to me and this is where I'm at. So if this is not the information that you're looking for, or that's going to help you move forward in any sort of direction, then I would ask you to see somebody else or help you find somebody who would be a better fit energetically.
Definitely. No, it's hands down, right? Because it goes back to that reciprocity and the energy exchange. So, and it's important for the reader and the querent to have a good energy exchange, right? So I do whatever I can to put the querents at ease especially if they are first timers. And
Right.
right, and explain the process, and then we're off and running. But you can quickly, right? We aren't perfect, just like you said. And
Hmm.
I think, right, it becomes challenging when there is an expectation that a specific message will be delivered, and it's not the way it works, right?
No, it's not. It's not. But I think it's also really great to talk about because,
Yeah.
we don't know everything.
No,
We try to help. And that's the point of this, whether it's within your business or
correct.
whether that's within my business or whether that's in anybody's. The whole purpose of what we're doing as light workers and healers is we're trying to help and we're trying to write people in a direction that would make sense to them and them alone,
Correct.
and I think that what we're doing, whether we use cards, whether we use energy, whether we use, tables, whatever we're using, pendulums, what have you, um, you know, it is something that we're not taking and we're keeping for ourselves. We're trying to facilitate movement for the other person, for the querent, for the client, for the person sitting in front of you asking for help. And I'm sure that, the viewers, the listeners out there can understand that when people ask you for help, you will try to do everything in your power to make that happen. But sometimes it's not perfect.
No, it's never perfect, right? Perfection is a fallacy, as is control, right? We never have either one. And we will sometimes put ourselves in vicious circles trying to attain either. So, right? And
Right.
then you
Hmm.
yourself ragged.
Right.
So
Well, I'm a mom. I'm never
it's
in control.
that's
I
oh
try.
my goodness.
I'm just never in control. What happened? Okay. What did you break? Okay. Right? Never in control. Where am I taking you? Like,
Yeah.
you know how it goes. But I think that's
Yeah.
really a different perspective, but yet important nonetheless, because you're right. If you think about it, you're never in control. Whether it is that you work for other people, you're not in control of your own self in that way. Whether it is that we work for ourselves, we're still not in control, and it's a fallacy. Perfection is also a fallacy. I can't tell you how many times I've created something, whether it's sew or knit or whatever, that my own hands, and it's
Hmm.
that repetitive movement of whatever it is. There's always a flaw.
Yes.
There's always a flaw. And, we have to look at that and say, some people would say like flaws and all, or wrinkles and all, or warts and all, or whatever it is, right? It goes hand in hand with what energy is, right? And what we're talking about reading your energy versus my energy. It's not a competition. It's not who's better, who's perfect, who's, less than, who knows more, who doesn't know more. It's all about the practice that we do. It's all
Correct.
about how we effectively relay these messages. Now, you can't hear it, but there's a blue jay screaming at me outside this window. And I was told by a respected reader that I went to a long time ago that one of my loved ones comes through as a blue jay. So I'm going to take that as an energetic, affirmation that what we're talking about is supposed to happen for today,
Ah,
especially for a day like Lionsgate.
ah, that makes my heart happy. Hmm. Yes.
So
Validation.
screaming at me.
It's like, yeah, we're on point, right? I always say it.
Yeah.
I get the shivers, right? Because
The
well,
shivers. The shivers. I'm
I
smelling that too. That's fine.
know. Put that one in your back pocket.
I will. I will. It's like, what was the one that you just said about the tissue? The issue.
Oh
Become
yeah,
the
feel
issue.
the issues
I,
that with your tissue.
I'm taking them all. I'm taking them all. Whatever you got, I'm taking them. I love that. I mean, it's so cool to actually talk to somebody that does on paper, you
Yeah,
know, a little bit more than I do on paper, but it, at the lowest core level, what we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to accomplish healing.
exactly. We are both
Mhm.
using different modalities to help people heal themselves, right? That is the primary reason why people sit across from us, right? It's because they have questions about their life or decisions that they're trying to make, or which direction should we go, right? So,
right.
all a form of
Or why
healing.
did that guy not call me back? That happens too. Hey, we're human beings, and sometimes we just need a little, throw me a bone here. Look at me and tell me what's going on, right? And it's not, and by the way, honey, it's not you, it's him. Right. But what we do and how that we approach is the healing that we try to accomplish is energetic in the sense of we're not necessarily giving them, here's the outcome of what you need. What we're saying is that here's the journey that you can go on if you so choose. And if you don't, that's okay. That's okay. You'll get there when you need to get there. Yeah. You'll figure it out the way that you need to figure it out, whether that's from a reading or an energetic healing or what have you. Every step is a right step if you look at it that way. There isn't a wrong step. There isn't one.
There isn't. Just like there are no coincidences, right? And life is a journey. It's not about a destination. We are constantly evolving and learning how to love ourselves, right? Is the best way to increase your speed along that journey, in my opinion.
Right. Or just enjoy the process, because sometimes where you are, I really like it here. I feel really good. I feel like I'm plateauing, and that's okay with me. Right. I talk about this with my mom sometimes. She always will say, it's all good. And really, I feel like that's kind of where she is. It's all good. It doesn't matter if this happens or that happens. She had a woodchuck that was eating her vegetables, and she's like, it's all good. And I was like, woodchuck eating your vegetable. But that kind of a situation is that however you look at it is not wrong. It's your perspective. And that's what we try to do, right? Is just give you a little bit of space and guidance to understand that perspective, and that energetic flow can happen in any sort of way. No matter how you like to look at it, and no matter how I like to look at it, that's all we kind of do.
Correct.
And on a day like today, where the energy is very intense, because I feel like that should be talked about as well. We are in this intense energy. It's okay to grasp it and run with it, and it's okay not to too.
Oh, most definitely, right? Energy affects people differently. I happen to love Lionsgate, right? The period of Lionsgate between July 26th and August 12th. It's one of my favorite times of year, even though I'm a good Pisces, right? So, and there are other times where we're moving through energetic shifts where I have to kind of be the little lump on the couch, right? And just say, I can't, right? And that's okay. You don't have to participate in every single little thing, right? You do what feels right to your soul.
Right. And I think that embracing that and realizing where we are with that is really the name of the game here. Whether you are looking for guidance from somebody else or whether that you're understanding that to be your own self, that is where we are. And I appreciate everything that we've been talking about today. Where else can we find you? How else can we get in touch with you? What do you have going on? Tell me more. I want more.
Oh my goodness. So I like to, I do have an office in Uxbridge, Mass. You can find me through my website, Manifest Health Solutions. Also on the website is a list of classes where I am out and about in the community. I have 2 locations that I am consistently at, A Touch of Magic in Uxbridge, Mass, as well as It's My Health in Cumberland, Rhode Island. And then office hours are by appointment only, right? And I do my very best to accommodate and flex the schedule to meet your needs. So,
I love that. Do you have any classes or anything else going on that you want to talk about besides your boundaries?
So this month we are not doing any classes, but then so in September we pick up boundaries. We pick up introduction to oracle card reading. So oracle cards are my go-to first, right?
They are not mine. Should I take this class?
I would love to have you in my class. I would love to have you in my class. It's going to be a 5-week series, and that will be at It's My Health on Wednesday evenings beginning in mid-September. So, and I will take you through the ins and outs of Oracle and how to get in touch with your intuition, because we are all capable of, of utilizing these gifts, right? We are all blessed with them from birth. And let's see, what else are we doing? Oh, yes. And then intro to numerology. We are going to pick that up on a Friday night because that was kind of a popular class and people have a lot of fun. And it's a great way to learn a lot of fun things about you as well as other people around you.
Oh my God. So what is your life path number? Because we talk about that in numerology, correct?
Oh, yes. So the life path number is 3.
That's yours? Okay. So that's in our entire world, that is the Empress.
Yeah.
And we know her to be the loving, unconditional love carrier, that deals with the cosmos as well as what the earth can provide in abundance. So that makes sense for you. I love that. So I love that. I think that is incredible. I love numerology. See, I told you guys, she does everything. But anyway, you can catch Kathy Lynn at Manifest Health Solutions here, there, and everywhere. I did tag her in the post for this, so you can see her. And I thank you so much for being on with me tonight. I so appreciate it. We'll have to do this again.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I love chatting with you always.
Okay. So everybody, I will touch base with you next week. Next Tuesday, it will be a Tarot Tuesday. And then the Witch Doctor will be in. I'm sure she will. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy.
Thank you.